Another boring 0-0 snooze fest. 2 points dropped going into the City game. Shocking performance today. Really bad performance from loads of individuals tactically. The starting lineup, the substitutions, individuals dropping 0 out of 10s. Where'd you start to unpick that, Rick?
First of all, Dan James has hardly played all season, Flex, and he's come in and he's been a breath of fresh air. And I know people talk about 2 games a week. The lad's as fit as a fiddle. Look, we've got Bruno and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire who play every minute of every match. How can Dan James come in and play 4 games and suddenly need? If that's the point, does he need? Because let's be clear about this. Is he rested or is he dropped, or is there a difference these days? Because if he's rested. If he's rested, why isn't Bruno ever rested? Why isn't Maguire ever? He doesn't need a rest. Why is he rested? So if he's not rested, he's been dropped. How can you drop him with the performances he's been putting in? And then he brings Cavani in, and James has been getting round twice at the weekend. It's only twice, but it's twice more than anybody else. He got round the full-back and got crosses into the box. So Cavani comes in. To be fair to Greenwood today, by the way, there's not many plus points, but he did put 2 good crosses in.
He did. I know he did.
Crosses in. But, so James might have only put 2 in. But even so, Dan James shouldn't have been dropped. And Cavani comes in. The winger that's been putting the crosses in has got dropped at the same time as Cavani comes in. And when he got James ready to come on, Flex, I promise you, it didn't cross me mind that it could be Cavani coming off. Didn't cross me mind for one moment.
Because he's just come back off injury? Is it that?
Well, it could have been, but he's definitely the man who might just nick you the goal. And if the ball's coming in the box, if it bounces loose, he's the man who might nick it. And he's got
to be Rashford or Greenwood for you.
Mason's been playing wide and Marcus has been playing wide. Dan James comes on. To me, I was tossing a coin up me. I was like, nah, will it be Mason? Will it be Didn't cross me mind it might be Cavani. Didn't cross me mind. And look, even if he was tired and even though he's just been injured, Flex, he didn't do it till there was 15 minutes left. I mean, come on. He could have stayed on another 15 minutes and it might have made a difference.
Did it cross your mind? You said it didn't cross your mind that it would be Cavani coming off. Did it cross your mind at all that we'd play as badly as that, as a team, as a unit, as everything? You know, from starting lineup, like you said, you've just spoke about that McTominay not getting a start as well. From that situation to actually playing as bad as we did, right through to the decisions to change the game and limited resources on the bench with the injuries that we've got. Was never going to play any of the young bucks in Shoreteri or Ahmad in this type of game. That was my worry. He's got his best players out there, according to Ollie. And well, if it didn't go right, what would we do to change the game? And the answer is nothing.
Well, he did try something, didn't he? He brought Matt on.
Or too late, yeah.
Yeah, brought James on. That was another interesting substitution as well for me. Out of all, let's call it a back 4 and the front 6, out of all the front 6, I've got no doubt in my mind that Matic was the pick. He was the one who was giving the decent passes, only out to the wingers and the full-backs, but he was getting things moving. And for him to bring McTominay on for Fred, now Fred starts every week. Fred starts every game and Matic doesn't. He's watching that game and suddenly he thinks to himself, look, you'd expect it to be Matic. Matic is the one who's only getting the odd game here and there. You'd expect him to take, not that I'd take Matic off. What I'm trying to get at here is when it comes down to the nitty gritty, does he actually realise that Matic is better? Do you understand what I mean?
He doesn't because Fred plays all the time.
Why has he suddenly taken his favourite starter off and left the lad on who hardly ever gets a start? And the reason was because he was looking like he might give that pass. All right, nobody was opening up defences, but he was the weight of his passing into Shaw's feet, especially obviously he's more on the left, isn't he? That's part of the reason why Luke Shaw looks so dangerous. Luke Shaw looks so dangerous because Matic is giving him such good passes, you know what I mean? That helps a lot. Obviously, Shaw's a top player, but it helps a lot when you're getting good passes from your nearest teammate.
And I think about the consistency of that was a big problem today in terms of we played in spells. So like the first 10 minutes was Palace. Then we came into the game and like you said, started feeding Shaw. The passes into him were good. He started linking up with Rashford, a couple of dangerous moments. And then that's it. Bruno's giving away the ball. Fred's giving away the ball. Matic done a real hospital pass in the first half, but then picked himself up after that. Greenwood gave away a ball a couple of times in the first half, couldn't get on it. Just it looked like we could have played another 90 minutes and not scored. Although when James come on, he nearly scored straight away, and McTominay nearly scored straight away, actually. Yeah. But it was just so bad. But what about the future for this team, Rick?
If those players were fit and ready to play, it's an absolute disgrace that McTominay and James didn't play. I mean, I hope people will jump in the comments saying you always say it doesn't matter who scores. It doesn't matter who scores, but McTominay can score a goal. So you do have to think about that when you looking at your team and the players that you're picking. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think he was caring about the City game? Do you think he's thinking, right, I got Dan James for the City game and McTominay back for the City game? McTominay's just come back from injury and trying to say...
Yeah, possibly. But I've never liked that sort of thinking. To be fair, even the great man himself used to do things like that. You know, he used to sort of rest players and sometimes drop points in games that you shouldn't drop points in. I'm a great believer in putting absolutely everything into getting those 3 points. This is Crystal Palace. Put absolutely everything into getting those 3 points. If somebody's fit to play him, and then worry about Sunday on Sunday. Because I always argue this, Flex, no matter who's fit, if we've suddenly got Messi and Ronaldo playing for us on Sunday, we might still get beat by them.
100%, yeah.
So let's try and get these 3 points in the bag and then worry about Sunday on Sunday.
Yeah, because your next game, your game that you're facing now is your biggest game. If you can't think past that, apart from when you're in a real obvious situation, like you've already won the league and you got a cup final or something like that. But what about the future for this team, Rick, in the way that we're seeing us play? So you're looking. I saw someone put out a tweet saying we've not scored a goal for 4 hours, and just this.
I think that's the third 0-0 on the bounce, isn't it?
Third 0-0 on the bounce. Sociedad, Chelsea in this.
This is football's infectious, Flex. You know what I mean? It's infectious when you're playing, and then when you get into a run of form, that's also can be infectious. We drew 0-0 with Sociedad, which was fine because we were 4-0 up, but it was a trap game. Then we've gone to Stamford Bridge, and the 0-0 was okay there because we wanted to stay 6 points in front of them. But now suddenly we've come to a game where we've got to win. The first one we've got to win, and it finishes. Not only does it finish 0-0 again, but let's be honest, we rarely looked like scoring, did we?
No, rarely. That's what I mean. We could have been out there a whole another 90 minutes. And look, I know we don't. Look, after a result like this, it's going to be all over Twitter. You know what it's going to be like. This is why Ollie's not this. This is why Rashford's not this. This is why Bruno. The inquest begins. But I'm not asking you to say, should Solskjaer get sacked or anything like that. But what I'm asking is, can you see a place where Solskjaer can turn these type of performances around and start getting better performances out of these players, or change the personnel that you think should be playing?
I don't know if he's ever going to get it, mate. But to be fair, 90% of the fans don't get it. You know what I mean? I've said to you time, and I've said to Mark on the Sunday night show time and time again, he overrates some players and underrates others. Dan James is only just come into. We touched on this the other night. Dan James has only just come back into the reckoning. Excuse me. Dan James is no better now than he was 12 weeks ago when he was never getting a look in. Sometimes not even on the bench. He isn't. He's still the same player. Look, what they'll have you believe when they come. He's frozen there, mate. Can you hear me still? Flex, it's frozen. Can you hear me, mate?
You're there. Go on. Yeah. Just went a bit fuzzy there. I can hear you now.
Yeah. They feed you all this. Oh, he's in training. He's been doing this. They said something like that, didn't they? And he's earned his place. Look, they're just saying that.
He's been doing well, working hard. Yeah.
Because the team's not doing quite so well, and well, not just that, but I think his first start. Oh no, he come on as a sub, didn't he? And he scored against Southampton. Then he got a start away against Real Sociedad. What did he? I think he
scored and got an assist.
He scored again. So he scored as a sub, and then he scored and got an assist in a game, which he only started because it was a Europa League game against a team who they thought we might beat, and he still fielded a strong team, but give him a game. So we scored 2 goals, and then they've gone. It's a bit like the fans. The fans on Twitter, they think someone's playing well if they scored a couple of goals. It's not necessarily the case. you could play well and score goals, but you can also nick a goal when you're not playing so well. So what they've done then is they've gone, oh, he's playing well now. We'll start giving him some games. So when they say that, they start giving you all this bull on the TV and that. Oh, he's been working so hard in training, he's earned it. Rubbish. All they've done is give him a game in a game where they thought he could get away with it. He'd done all right, so then they've kept him in. And he would have done all right. Or when I say done all right, if he hadn't scored, they wouldn't have thought he'd done so well.
Yeah, they wouldn't have thought it.
So well. Do you know what I mean? It's mad.
So from here on out, like you said, he's got to play. Who's got to play? What are you saying? Matic and McTominay?
Matic and McTominay have got to play.
Dan James, Cavani, and then you'd go Martial on the left, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I had a tweet ready. I got a tweet ready in injury time when it was 0-0. I said the forwards are too lazy. Bring Anthony Martial back.
The irony in that, eh? The irony in that.
Obviously, cheek.
Yeah.
Calls him lazy.
That's what they say. I think
90% of the fans probably thought, "Oh, we've got Greenwood, Cavani, and Rashford tonight. We'll score 4." They probably thinking.
Well, Gary Neville said, didn't he?
Chances wise, that might be our worst performance of the season. Chances.
Do you know what? As that was going on, it's weird how you say that actually, because I was so emotionless watching it. I was literally sat there sulking like a little kid, thinking, "What is this?" And then I started thinking crazy stuff. So the games where we lost. Like against Palace earlier on in the season, when Tottenham spanked us. I ended up putting those down to kind of like beginning of the season, but not at it. I almost found this worse, like what I watched today, even though we got a point and you should never wish for a worse result because, at the end there, they could have nicked it. Who knows what VAR would have done if they would have scored that.
Would have scored,
who knows? He looked just offside, but no one was to know, and you don't want to get into a VAR situation, so who knows? But I see what you're saying in terms of the way that we played from minute 1 to the end across a whole 90, I know we've had some real bad results earlier on when we weren't quite there yet. We rushed back. I kind of do see what you're saying. Like it felt so bad that it was like, this is actually the worst we've played in any game all season, which is weird because there's been a lot, but I see what you mean with that. What about Rick, to finish off? Where do you see the season going now? So I was saying that we needed to win this game. Not to get the title race back on, but to just have some pride because City are 15 points ahead. Make that 14 now. But if you don't win this game and take that points tally back to 12, we could go and get beat, and then you're 18 points behind them, and then it starts getting really embarrassing. Then we're drawn into a top 4. How do you see the season kind of petering out from here after we've been at the top of the league in January to where we are now?
I think. If look, I'm not expecting us to win by any stretch of the imagination at weekend. But we need to get a point. There's teams gathering behind us now.
0-0. Now we need a 0-0.
There's teams gathering behind us now. Like, it'd be funny that, by the way. It won't surprise me one bit if it was 0-0. If you think about it, Flex,
that'd be a good result.
It's similar for City. This game, as the Chelsea game was for us. We went into that Chelsea game 6 points in front of them and thinking, look, if they're 3 points behind us, it's a bit twitchy time, innit? You know what I mean? But we were thinking, 0-0's a draw. Let's not say 0-0. A draw was okay for us in that game because it kept them at arm's length. So apart from the fact that they're going for this crazy record that they're going for.
And they're 14 points clear.
All I'm saying is the 12 points in front of us, they don't need to be any more.
I was at 12, not 14. I was at 12
I think, is it 14 now?
I thought they were 15 points clear yesterday.
Yeah, 14. But they don't need it to be any more.
They could lose and they'd still laugh at us.
They really don't need it to be any more. So if they might settle for a draw. But then they would settle for a draw apart from the staff record. Have you seen the record that they're chasing?
It's 21 games, yeah.
In the whole of all the European leagues, only Ajax have ever won.
Yeah, it was in the 70s.
They held the record. Ajax, I think it was in the 70s, 26 wins on the pound. So they're only about 3 or 4 short of that, aren't they? But when you think about it, Flex, the Dutch league compared to the Premier, you'd expect it to, with that record being in the Dutch league, it's obviously including all leagues. So even in Scotland, it's never happened. Rangers have never won 26 games on the bounce.
Yeah.
So what City are doing is astonishing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. And you know what?
They probably do want to achieve that. And when you see Pep jumping up and down when they've won yesterday, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they are looking at that. So
Be typical Ollie to go there and get a draw and stop their winning streak.
Well, yeah, it'd be nice to do that. But we could play for a 0-0 at weekend, and that'd be another thing as well. Have we ever drawn 4 games on the bounce 0-0?
Ollie out here trying to smash records. Rick, to finish off, who was your man of the match if there was one? Luke Shaw, Matic?
It can only be Matic or Shaw, can't it? Those are the only 2 players on the field who look like footballers who could play for a team that's challenging for the title. To me, the only 2.
Roll on to Derby Day on Sunday.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Are you looking forward to it?
No, not really, no. Not really.
I'll see you then.
Nice one, mate. I'm looking forward to speaking to you after it. Put it that way.